always going to be able to respond back with two very powerful picks, and red side in a lot of cases can be stronger depending on how you run your pick ban phase, but it looks like they're just trying to take all of the first pick power picks off the table. Urgot, of course, just a ridiculously oppressive laner. There's not very many matchups that he does poorly in whatsoever, and of course Hecarim as well. What you pair him against doesn't really matter because he's at the end of the day more of a PvE champion. Gets those home guard boots early, uses the devastating charge to get back to lane, and can kind of just push it out, buy an item back, or back buy an item and go back to lane very quickly. So good to take that off the board. Morgana taken away as well. This doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Cloud9, of course, really favors that more team fighting style. And Morgana pretty proficient at disrupting that. It looks like we are going to see, however, the lock-in or the insta-lock Nautilus for Dardoch, most likely going to Baby Eater in the bot lane.
Yeah, and this is just been one of those other just highly contested picks. We've seen not picked up in pretty much every game, but firing right back, two huge picks coming in. So Solo going to go ahead and get his Rumble off his first pick, and then Hard going to be coming in with the Sejuani in the jungle.
And this an incredibly powerful second rotation, a lot less. I mean, there's no flexibility with these two picks. Is the bottom line. Is that you have now built a team fighting composition, Rumble and
Yeah.
Sejuani team fight, and that is what they do. But Cloud9 is so proficient at it, not even worried about being flexible. They have confidence in their own abilities here, and they're just going to make some picks that will let them play around that will let them play their more team fight style, kind of akin to their sister team in the LCS. Of course, on the opposite side, though, Nunu and Maokai, the lock-ins here. Maokai most likely going to Dardoch in the top lane, and Mimo picking up that Nunu really wants to pressure the Sejuani early, and I like this decision coming in from Team Storm.
Yeah, going to make some really invasive plays with Nunu. And, I mean, early on, he can absolutely just go in and rip through Hard's jungle, and Hard won't be able to do, really anything about it without some outside help. So good pickup there. I want to see what they're going to synergize as far as 80 carries go with the Blood Boil. Hopefully they pick up somebody who really benefits off of auto attacks and attack speed rather than somebody like a Corki who doesn't do so well with that. I mean, it's still a benefit, but it's not nearly as effective as it is on other 80 carries. We can see for a lot, he will have Sivir, and Sheep going to go ahead with the Thresh. So really dangerous bot lane. Sheep has proven time and time again that when it comes to hooks, he is right on top and on point. So going to have to watch out.
Thresh's, of course, relative power in recent patches has been lowered significantly, obviously, since the nature of the shield on the Dark Passage was changed, but still an incredibly oppressive laner, and of course, in the hands of an expert like Sheep, it's going to do a lot of work. You wanted a scaling carry that could benefit from the Blood Boil. You don't get one, you get two. It looks like Azir and Jinx going to be the final lock-ins. Mandatory Cloud going to take that Azir into the mid lane. And this is a risky strategy, I gotta say. We've seen this from teams in the past where they take the double scaling threat, and as a result, their team's a little bit weaker in the early game. Of course, Jinx much stronger than Kog'Maw in the early game, but still not going to have the same impact as this Sivir early on. So some aggressive picks here from the side of Team Storm. They really like their scaling compositions, and the bottom line is if they can make an impact in the early game, it'll carry over for them so well. But if they fall behind at all, it's going to be a tough road for them.
Yeah, very tough road indeed. You can see Sheep playfully hovering over the Garen as Yusui figures out what he wants to take against Mandatory Cloud's Azir. We did see the LeBlanc hover. Looks like it may be the pickup here. And, yep, that will go ahead and get locked in. So LeBlanc versus the Azir in the mid lane. We've seen Yusui play this time and time again, and it's always been quite effective. So we're going to have to see how it fares against a potentially blood-boiled Azir as we get into these team fights. That could make for some very interesting action.
Well, we're gonna, as you said, we're gonna have to see. These two lineups are obviously very different in what they do. We have a more skirmish, more team fight focused lineup in the early to mid game on the side of Cloud9, whereas the side of Storm really just wants to play passive in the mid to early game, and then late game it's going to be all about protecting one of those two carries with the Nautilus, with the Maokai, with the Emperor's Divide from ManCloud. So two very different scaling comps, so they're going to want to fight at different times, and it's going to be interesting to see who has their way, who gets to fight on their terms, and the team that does is going to be the team that comes out on top.
Yeah, so So far, I think just looking at these team comps, just my personal opinion, I'm going to have to hand this one over to Cloud9 Tempest. I just think that they bring the superior team fight with that on to hunt to help hard get in range to get a nice glacial prison down and just top it off with an equalizer. But that's just guess and conjecture, and I can give that all I want, but we're going to have to see what happens when we actually get onto the rift and these two teams clash against each other. Of course, you are watching the AlphaDraft Challenger League. My name is Achilleos. With me is Sifa. We're going to go to a quick little break. But when we come back, we have our third game of the night between Storm and Cloud9 Tempest. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Welcome to AlphaDraft, where esports fans win cash and prizes for drafting top fantasy teams. Your mission is this: every week, draft your dream team from the LCS pros in that week's matchups. You'll receive a $50,000 salary cap to select your team. Teams have 6 players: a top, jungle, mid, ADC, support, and a flex position which can be filled by any player. You will also choose the team that you think will play best. Players are scored based on kills, deaths, assists, and CS, and teams win points for Dragon, Baron, and Turret kills. Every week, choose from both free and paid contests that will give away thousands of dollars in cash and prizes. Once games start, watch directly from AlphaDraft and see your stats update live. Most contests have many winners, so check back often to see how you match up against other LCS fans. Good luck, and remember, knowledge is money. Be Alpha.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the AlphaDraft Challenger League. My name is Achilleos. With me is Sifa. We are on to the rift for our third game of the night. On the blue side, it is Storm with Dardoch in the top on Maokai, Mimo in the jungle with Nunu, Mandatory Cloud on Azir in the mid lane, Expecake and Baby Eater rounding out the bot side with Jinx and Nautilus.
And on the opposite side, starting up for Cloud9 Tempest, it's going to be Solo in the top lane on that Rumble, hard in the jungle on that Sejuani Yusui. On the mid lane, LeBlanc, Lod, and Sheep with the Sivir Thresh bot lane, and already lots of wards being placed, lots of auto attacks being exchanged, but neither team going too hard just yet. It's like a standard 5-point, but much more aggressive because people just kind of start to hit each other.
Yeah, we can see actually a lot taking that ricochet first, able to kill that ward down there before it went invisible. So already a CS advantage for Cloud9 Tempest. The game's in the bag.
Yes, the level ones. Looks like we are going to see a lane swap, though, although Jinx may be doing one herself. And Nautilus appears to be determined to start on the bottom side. Looks like they're expecting the late invade as they saw the ward go down. But Nautilus now headed to the top, means it's going to be a red lane swap, so it will be the 2v2 on the top side, the 1v1 on the bottom side. However, Hard and Solo look like they aren't quite aware of this yet. Maokai going to start a single camp with those saplings, so he will have the EXP advantage. Rumble, it looks like Jinx is spotted out, so Rumble's going to head straight to lane to try to get some control there.
Alright, now both of these junglers working on opposite sides of the map, as we can see. Might have some interesting plays around the mid lane early on if they want to go hyper aggressive. Otherwise, might see Nunu, roaming down to try to help out Dardoch against Solo. Already some big aggression coming out in the top side as Sheep takes a good amount of damage. Tries to trade some back onto Expectcake. Does have that Relic Shield and Biscuits to go ahead and keep him alive. So it's going to be totally safe for the time being. Yusui trading fairly evenly against Mandatory Cloud in that mid side as well. Just going in with the Distortion, trying to lay down a little bit of damage, but minions doing work against his HP bar as well.
And the big questions for both these lanes is where are the junglers going to go? Of course, a lot of pressure on Mimo to have an impact in the early game. Late game, he'll still be able to do well just because of how well Blood Boil scales in this lineup. But Nunu, much more of an early game focused champion. Really only to trade very efficiently in the first 10 to 15 minutes where he starts to lose out in the damage department. So we'll have to see exactly what Mimo decides to do here on the bottom side of the map. It should be an even lane, and of course the big lane matchup is going to be this mid lane. It's going to be Azir versus LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And Yusui now level 3. I mean, the power is going to shift in his favor. He has an offensive summoner spell, he has an offensive character, and ManCloud doing well in farm, but it's just going to kind of have to play patient.
Yeah, he's going to take a much longer for him to get his power spike. You see Baby Eater on the top side, taking a good bit of harass. Sheep using that flay to keep him in range there. That Boomerang Blade from Lod doing some nice damage. Yusui goes in, gets the chain down on the Mandatory Cloud, jumps back to his Distortion, however, keeping himself safe from that harass about to come out from the Sand Soldier. So already doing a pretty good job, harassing out this Azir and keeping him down. Baby Eater yet again taking a bunch of harass, but that's going to be the Dredge Line onto Lod. The Riptide there with his spell shield, so negates that a little bit of slow. But overall, good trades still coming out from Cloud9 Tempest in the top side here with this duo.
And you can already see just how much pressure they're putting on. A CS differential already building about 8, almost 10 now in the favor of Lod. Of course, Expectcake will be able to get some back here under the tower, but Sheep and Lod just looking so much more confident. Of course, Hard coming to the top side. He expected the Nunu gank, and we just haven't seen it quite yet. Nunu going to finally go back here after his first jungle clear. We'll have to see what he picks up and what he decides to go with. Looks like pretty even lanes across the board. Of course, Mandatory Cloud getting bullied out at least a little bit in the mid lane.
Yeah, getting down by about 4 CS. You can see Expectcake actually, kind of falling behind in that regard as well. He does have these minions at the tower as well as those Relic Shield charges coming in for him, so it's a little bit more even than scoreboard would tell, but still having a little bit of a rough time against this bot lane duo of Cloud9 Tempest who find themselves in the top side currently. One thing, and I think he's about to do it, so I'm about to eat my words, is going to say we haven't seen really any invasive play coming from Mimo quite just yet on this Nunu, which is something that he is so good at. And he's not yet really wandered too far into the jungle. Looks like he may... now he's just going to throw down a ward. I thought maybe he was going to go for the Grump there, but actually just going to go ahead, throw down a ward, get the Scuttle Crab, and then go right back to farming his own jungle.
And this vision kind of telegraphing an early focus on dragon control from the side of Team Storm. We'll have to see if they follow up on this, if they want to follow through. And of course, this bot lane matchup, it's interesting overall because Xpekik just wants to farm. He just wants to farm safely and survive. Of course, starting to trade pretty well.
Oh, that's going to be the grab onto Xpekik as the Ignite comes in as well. Boomerang Blade only going to hit one side. The backswing not coming through. But a nice ward in the brush will get Lod the vision that he needs to get that first blood. And now Baby Eater trying to get a kill fired back on the sheep. He does find it, so they do trade 1 for 1. But that's going to be an AD carry kill going over compared to a support kill for the side of Storm. So very much in the upper hand of Cloud9 Tempest. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Solo with the overheat has a really well-placed equalizer, and he takes down Dardoch in the solo kill. Very well played. Barely walks away with his life, but just good ult placement. Dardoch not really moving out of that one in time.
And just so close in both the top lane and on the bottom side of the map, of course. It looked like Dardoch thought he was out of the equalizer and realized too late that it was still ticking away at his health bar, was just hit by the edge of it. So an unfortunate circumstance for him there, but Sheep and Lot absolutely outplaying on the top side of the map. Baby Eater able to get something back, but you can see the CS differential already massively in the favor of Lod. And I was about to say, this lane for Lod, more about hitting level 6 than it is about getting a CS advantage, but he has one as well. And of course, Xpekik really just wants to farm up and hit that mid to late game stride. Obviously, he's going to do pretty well in the mid game, just in general, but it's really going to have a hard time competing with Lod, especially with that On the Hunt, which will be available shortly, as you can now see that the bot lanes have swapped, and it looks like mirroring each other as they both predicted that one.
Yeah, so this onslaught from Lod's just going to continue for Xpekik, and he's going to have to just play that much more cautiously. We see the BF sword and longsword coming in for the Sivir. That just has so much more damage by comparison to Xpekik having to get the pickaxe and second Doran's blade. So really going to be delaying his build into that Infinity Edge for quite some time. So this is a perfect opportunity for Lod to, keep stretching the CS lead that he has and lay down a lot more pressure. We could already see Hard waiting in the wings. The Glacial Prison is available, but I don't think he's going to be able to find anything here.
Sheep does have Lantern. They are pinging like they want to do something here. It does look like they're going to back off, but one of the big strengths of Thresh that always will be a strength is the Flash Flay. It's an engage option, of course, paired with the Lantern. It's absolutely lethal. It offers what is basically a free hook follow-up.
Oh, Solo in a bad spot, though. Dardoch trying to lay on some damage. Here comes Mimo from the side. Gets a nice equalizer. He's actually looking to try to retreat underneath the tower, but it's not going to happen. Absolute Zero comes across. The Flame Spitter does a good amount of damage, but he will fall. Dardoch picking up that kill. That should help alleviate a lot of the pressure that this Rumble has been creating. But Mimo showing himself in the top side. That's going to open up this first dragon of the game for Cloud9 Tempest, as they should be able to take this relatively safely. You see Baby Eater coming over. He knows what's going on. He's going to throw down that ward so they can at least get the timer here.
Well, and of course, a big misstep, but a great sidestep there on that rock, which surely would have taken down the dragon.
Yeah, and the confirm actually coming in from Sheep.
And making sure that they land that one. And so very close on the side of Cloud9, a little too close for comfort. But of course on the top side of the map, Solo, I feel like he missed the equalizer. He was going for something a little more on top of himself. He put it on his retreat path out and probably just trying to run at the same time as placing it. Just a bit of a misstep, but either way, good on Mimo to punish that over-aggressive Rumble, pushing too far forward for farm. They do have to trade it for the dragon, though, so I think it's still in the favor of Cloud9. Sheep, though, has to be careful here. Gonna land the hook.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be the box with a flay. Straight in. Lod has so much damage as he gets in range from that On the Hunt. Now they're just laying down damage on the Baby Eater. Looks like they may want to dive this one. Now they're gonna peel out. Sheep not quite taking enough, but that might have been a little bit of a misstep. Baby Eater gets that dredge line, pulls himself that much closer to Lod, and combined with the Boomerang Blade, flashes in for that last auto, finds himself a kill. This bot lane for Cloud9 Tempest, absolutely devastating. That of Storm so far.
And when you're this far ahead in a bot lane with a Sivir and a Thresh, just your base damages alone are going to be enough to rip through just about anyone. Of course, the box, despite it receiving the nerf where only one wall is going to do damage, that one wall still hits like a truck. It's still 250 damage at level 1. And, when you're flayed back into it, when Sheep is able to land those hooks, it's just so difficult for Xpekik to do anything. Of course, Baby Eater still has Depth Charge available, still has Ignite as well. Just really not able to respond effectively. whatsoever. So good on Lot and Sheep to capitalize that, and Xpekik and Baby Eater really hurting on the bottom side of this map.
Yeah, really interesting decision to try to get that dredge line back in. I think he was trying to drag, him underneath the turret to get some hits off and just harass, but not thinking about how much he was displacing himself and putting himself closer to a lot. We could see Yasui almost getting knocked into the tower, but he had that distortion waiting and ready to go. So really, Mandatory Cloud using the Emperor's Divide to no avail. Gets a bit of damage in, but Yasui's still sticking around.
That's one of the really tough parts about this matchup is that you can interrupt LeBlanc's dash as it starts. Although we may see an
Solo in the top side, yeah, has that equalizer down with the Flame Spitter as he's overheated. Has a good amount of damage coming in on a Dardoch, but Dardoch looking to fire back as well. It's just, ooh, wow, he actually flashes away from the sapling. That connect damage combined with the explosion might have just been enough to kill Solo, so narrowly avoiding death as Solo is able to find another solo kill, but the rocket from downtown, not thinking about that one, and no vision of that one getting fired off. He gets popped. Jinx getting one on the board.
Xpekik is a sniper. Xpekik is the AlphaDraft sniper. He has stole, I believe, 2 dragons. And that is, I think, the first actual long-distance kill he's gotten. But it's just absolutely consistently on point, and this is why he keeps picking Jinx. No matter what lane he's in, he's able to find kills, even if it's not on his lane opponents, even if it's somewhere else. That being said, C9 Solo, excellent heat management. Overheats as the equalizer goes down, as the Flame Spitter is ticking, giving him his maximum damage output. Comes out of overheat just in time to shield himself to stay alive. So C9 Solo outplaying in that matchup. But in the end, still going to give an assist over to Dardoch as just that beautiful Super Mega Death Rocket came through.
Yeah, and that was completely just, connected because it was fired from a place where they had absolutely no vision of Xpekik. He was back by his tier 2 tower in that bot side, so there was no way for his team to warn Solo that one was on the way. So funny pop coming in on that one. That's going to help get Xpekik into this game a little bit here. Finally getting that kill on the board. You can see he has since picked up a BF sword. Still pretty far behind Lod, respectively, though. You can see the CS numbers really spelling a huge lead for Lod in that regard. He's also up that Cloak of Agility with a longsword to boot. So,
yeah,
still a very scary sim.
The kill only really helping mitigate the CS differential. Of course, Lod also has 3 kills on top of that. So the gold still very much in Lod's favor, about 5.5k to 3.9. So Lod almost a full item ahead. You can see he has the pieces for Infinity Edge. He's also got 1,400 in his inventory. So we'll easily be able to finish that one up, as well as potentially buy himself some tier 2 boots pretty shortly here. Although it looks like Baby Eater may try to find an engage. Not going to happen, of course. And this is just Cloud9. They're forcing solo plays across the map. It could turn against them, though. As Mimo goes
down. And Solo in the top side. That's going to be Absolute Zero coming down. He takes a huge hit of damage, and yet again, throwing down the equalizer, just trying to get those minions, to stop that onslaught onto his tower. But they grab up Baby Eater down bot as he gets locked up by the Glacial Prison hard. Done up huge with that CC. They did get the teleport out from Dardoch as he goes down to the bot lane, but not going to be able to find any action here, as they're actually going to go ahead and just take away the Krugs. So, good play by Cloud9 Tempest, just getting onto Baby Eater and tearing straight through his HP numbers, and really good timing by Hard to arrive and have that Glacial Prison at the ready.
And while I do think that this is excellent play from Cloud9 overall to kind of dominate across the lanes, they're giving up unnecessary advantages here, and Yasui is actually quite strong at this point in the game just because of the nature of LeBlanc as a character, and it seems like they're not really utilizing this very well. Yasui baiting out the ultimate there, but not getting much back in return, and Cloud9 overall feels like they're a little
well, he's trying to get more back in return. There's a chance come through. Actually going to go ahead and sees Baby Eater arriving in the lane. Does not want to get a death charge to the face. Goes back on the distortion yet again. But yeah, good play to bait out that Emperor's Divine. So not going to have that one up for a fairly considerable amount of time. I think it's a 90-second cooldown at its current rank.
Well, this is Cloud9. I feel like not so much focused on macro strategy as they are on their individual mechanical capabilities solo, just trying to 1v1 over and over and over again in the top lane. When that's really not what he needs to be doing. I mean, it's more about this teamfight impact, and we're going to see if Yasui goes down here.
Yeah, that's going to be the depth charge coming in with the rocket, but the mirror image is going to eat the brunt of that one. Yasui looks like he will be able to waltz out of the lane relatively safely. Mandatory Cloud, though, gets grabbed up by Sheep, but there's no follow-up, and Sheep in a little bit of a bad spot as he's forced to flash out. The dragon, second dragon of the game, has been finished by Cloud9 Tempest, however. Baby Eater taking a good bit of damage. Lod with a very nice spell shield will cancel out that dredge line and stop himself from getting grabbed in, so very nicely played by Cloud9 Tempest. Getting out a lot of ultimates and not suffering any losses as they pick up that second dragon.
And just, I gotta give some props to Yasui on the outplay.
Oh,
there.
well, they're going to engage right here as Beetle
chance.
gets locked up. The Glacial Prison, as well as the Death Sentence, comes through. He throws out the Absolute Zero. Not going to get finished, though. Lod finding that kill. A very nicely placed Equalizer comes through. Baby Eater, he's going to fall here. That's a double kill, but yeah, here he comes on the backside. Dardoch locking up Lod as much as he possibly can, but the damage is just too real from Cloud9 Tempest. That's a triple kill for Lod. And Expecting is completely out of mana. Mandatory Cloud, oh so low. They're going to have to run out of this. We can see the Boomerang Blade just ripping through Expecting's health. They take down the tower. They're going to be able to take this tier 2 as well.
And this is just pretty much Lod solo carrying team fights. His team locks them down in a single boomerang, takes out about half of their health. There's really no legitimate tanky stats on the opposite side. The only ones, of course, in the top lane for Maokai, all going to be MR. So just taking a ton of damage there, and excellent use of the Boomerang Blade, excellent use of Sivir's kit in that exchange. And I was going to give props to Yasui earlier on for using the clone and to get away, and it looks like he might get a solo kill as well.
Yeah, finds Expecting, who's just, since getting that one kill onto solo from across the map, not able to catch a break. 1-3-1 on the Jinx, and still not really acquiring any other items. I believe he actually has enough to complete the Infinity Edge right now. So likely we'll see that one coming in for him, which will help out a little bit. The Baby Eater getting snatched up by Yasui, already taken down a half HP. You can see just the raw damage output from that LeBlanc coming to the forefront. And that's just from an Athene's and a needlessly large rod. He's sitting on 1,200 more gold right now. So he's going to be able to become that much more powerful on his next back.
And it seems like a switch has flipped for Cloud9. Earlier, I felt like they were playing more of a solo queue style game where they focused on their own lanes, they focused on individual kills. Yeah, they took Dragon, but it was more about individual in-lane plays for each player as opposed to grouping as a team. And then that single team fight and taking down that single mid-lane turret, and there's just a sudden burst of action as they just rotate across the map, take every turret that's easily available to them, and place down deep vision. And I wonder if we're going to see another lull where they kind of go back to their laning phase if they try to just force these 1v1 situations, or if we're just going to see Cloud9 keep grouping now that they know they're so far ahead.
Yeah, likely going to be the case. We can see a little bit of pressure starting to build up in the mid side against Cloud9 Tempest's turret. Solo finding Dardoch as he overheats here. Has a nice flame spitter that will take out the Maelstrom. Let's go ahead and trade that one, but Yasui goes in onto Expecting, takes him down to about 10% HP. Just a matter of hits. Sheep not able to find the death sentence over the wall, but you can just see Yasui playing out of his mind right now. Picks up the Sorcerer's Shoes to boot, and he's just going to be hitting these carries basically for true damage. The only one really having MR going to be Mandatory Cloud with the Athenes, and even then, it's only 25.
Picking up the Sorcerer's Shoes to boot. I saw you sneak that one in there. Can't get that one past me. I know your games. I mean, overall, though, it's just an absolutely dominating advantage coming in from Cloud9. 4 to 10 in the kill score isn't that significant, but the 4 turrets in favor of Cloud9 just create such an oppressive gold lead. And of course, all of the gold for Cloud9 really at this point is on Lod, and you're going to see him.
Oh, Baby Eater getting melted down as the box comes through. Lod looking to finish that one out. Here's the Glacial Prison. They finish him off with the red buff. Absolute Zero coming through, but it's only going to pop onto Sheep, who does down, Expecting, finding that kill. Now Mimo getting locked up, forced to flash away. Lod, the Sand Soldier, is doing so much damage. He flashes away hard, eating the rocket to prevent the death of his AD carry. Yasui's still playing on the top side here, looking for a pick as he goes on to Mimo. He will find him as the chain connects. Jumps back, but he gets locked up by the Twisted Advance. Looks like Yasui's going to go down, Expecting, finding that kill again. Now Lod in such a bad spot, the Sand Soldier is going to be able to finish him off. And they actually trade quite well, taking down 3 members of Cloud9 Tempest. Hard having the dash out, but look at this pressure that Solo is about to put onto the top side of the map.
Solo just not there for the team when he needed to be, so unfortunate in that circumstance. But Cloud9 still doing reasonably well in the team fight, and of course, Yusui able to pick up 2 at the end of that one. Of course, getting locked down by the Twisted Advance will secure the kill back on him, but it's just raw power at this stage. Just a little bit too much. X-Pekake, though, on Jinx. Now, this is the big thing about Jinx, is that if she's left alone in front of a tower, she'll take it down in the matter of seconds. The minigun attack speed scaling is just so high. And already you're going to start to see X-Pekake get back in this game. He has the Infinity Edge finished, and he'll be able to go back with at least a decent amount of gold after that fight, 1,300, so not a huge buy, but Boots 2 will give him at least a little bit more safety.
Yeah. Especially with those Berserker Creeps, just that much more attack speed, able to throw out those rockets even faster. See Yusui grabbing up his blue buff. Dragon's going to be spawning in about 30 seconds. And this is one that Storm really need to contest and try to take away, because it would be the third for Cloud9 Tempest, putting them that much closer and over the halfway point toward that aspect of the Dragon buff. So they need to prevent that from being taken.
And really what I want to see from Cloud9 is utilization of the vision that they have. You can see the deep wards on the bottom side of the map. They have had in the past opportunities to make picks, and they've kind of fumbled those. And if they really want to snowball this advantage, they really need to make something happen.
Oh, and they're making something happen right now as Baby Eater takes a huge amount of damage. He's going to go down. Yusui finishing him off with the Ignite. It looks like the chase might still be on. Solo coming in to join his team. Dardoch playing the front line is hard. Gets taken quite low, but he will be able to take that Dark Passage to safety. The Rocket not going to connect, nor is the Equalizer. Yusui going back in, trying to get a lot of damage. Dardoch following that one through with the Twisted Advance, gets taken underneath the tower a little bit. Sigil comes through. Yusui will finish him off. Mimo being taken so low, but now their eyes are on X-Pekake as he gets finished out by Lod. Mimo on the run, but he has no mana. Yusui dashes forward. The chain connects with the Sigil. He goes down. That's going to be a double kill and a near ace. Actually, it is the ace. Baby Eater coming up just after the ace, and that's going to be the Baron for Cloud9 Tempest.
And that right there is Lod just shoving his gold lead in the enemy team's face. I mean, 9-1-3 now. An amazing scoreline. Obviously, Yusui and Sheep keeping people engaged, keeping them fighting. And Hard caught out at least a little bit earlier on. Solo even functionally missing the Equalizer, but Lod just finds the flank, gets into the back lines, and just does so much damage. Not a single person on Storm's lineup can contest Sivir in a 1v1 situation, and she was just able to find one person after another and just clean that one up.
You can see on the backside of that fight and the Baron take, they also go ahead and get the third Dragon. Objective control very much in the hands of Cloud9 Tempest, up 3 towers, 3 Dragons, and a Baron now to boot. Looking quite strong in this game, and it's, you know, with a 10.7k gold deficit for Storm. You know, what can they do to really swing themselves back into this game? Is all hope just really resting on X-Pekake at this point?
Well, they need to find a way to stall the game out, and at this point it means warding defensively and waiting for Baron to pass. They have solid wave clear with the Azir, with the Jinx, but they have to be careful not to get picked. So bottom line, defensive vision control, and they have to be willing, sadly, I think they might have to be willing to give up a 4th Dragon, just so that they can contest the 5th Dragon when it comes around with the appropriate level of power. Obviously, ManCloud doing a pretty good job to catch up, will be pretty powerful himself once he finishes that death cap. But a little bit farther away for X-Pekake is going to need a Static Ship as well as a Last Whisper. Well, maybe not even a Last Whisper. You can see not too much armor coming in on the opposite side. So at least the Static Ship is going to be necessary before he can really dish out damage in these team fights.
Yeah, we can see Hard actually going pretty deep in, gets that Glacial Prison down on the X-Pekake. That's going to bait out the Absolute Zero. Yusui taking a bit of damage, but he will be able to distort back to safety as Baby Eater goes down. And the fight is just absolutely broken out in favor of Cloud9 Tempest. As you can see, Mandatory Cloud going down. Mimo able to walk away with, how much HP does he have? He had about 15 HP. Able to get out, but all members of Cloud9 Tempest still very much alive as they take down this inhibitor. And with these Baron empowered minions, they're likely going to be able to get more. X-Pekake is coming up, however, and he does have the Super Mega Death Rocket. There are 2 very low members of Cloud9 Tempest, so we may see a pick coming out here. He's alive and on the board. Oh, wow. Yeah, Rocket not going to matter. Doesn't hit anything, and the Nexus is exposed. It's going to get burned down rather quickly by Lod here. You can see Cloud9 Tempest with a very clean 25-minute game coming in.
And just confident play from Cloud9 across the board. I mean, really, we talked about this lineup needing some time to get scaled up, and Cloud9 did not give them a minute. Constant